Hello, Facebook. Good morning. I guess it's morning. Yeah, it's still morning. After Memorial Day, I'm not sure what day it is or what time of day it is. I'm going to wait just a minute for a few people to join and then we'll get started. We have lots to talk about today and I'm excited to share it with you. I got to get my notes up here. We're going to talk about summer and all the fun things that happen in summertime. You know, everybody goes on vacation, you have family reunions. I don't know if they're going to do any class reunions this summer or not, but I've got some really good tips and tricks on how to take better pictures of yourself and your kids. I'm going to talk about how to see light. I'm actually going to show you an example. I have my handy light here, so I'm going to show you, where the light's coming from and how it shines on your face and what it does when it's on you. So we'll talk about some of that. And then I'm even going to talk about some tips on how to take photos with your phone. So just some things to think about as you're looking at the light. I'm actually going to show you on my phone how it works and how you can do it at home. So stay with us for just a few minutes and we'll get started. One thing I want to ask too, if you'll just put something in the comments to let me know. I know that baseball has started back up. I don't know if there's other sports too, but I just know baseball because I spent the weekend at the baseball field this past weekend. So one of the things I thought I might do is, I'm always filming my kids at bats, and if they're pitching, I'm usually filming. But there's some really good tips on where to stand, what to get in the frame if you want to take pictures, and it depends if your child is left-handed or right-handed, where you want to stand. It depends a little bit about the coaches too, because sometimes where I would like to stand, there's always a coach right in my way. So, and obviously you can't tell them to move. So I'll talk about some of that too. If you guys want, just give me some feedback in the comments and let me know if you have questions. I really feel like that could be a totally separate call, or I guess Tuesday talk all by itself, because there's a lot of tips and tricks on where to stand and what your settings on your camera should be and all of that. And I can even show you how I do it with my phone when I'm filming, because one of the things I know, having a husband coach, he wants to see very specific things. But if I were filming just for me or taking pictures, I would do it totally differently. So I'll kind of talk about the differences for those of you that want to look at it in different ways. Okay, well, it looks like we've got a few people that are on now, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. This time of year is normally full of family reunions, vacations, going to the lake, all these different things. And so I wanted to share with you some ideas that I have around those. We always go on a family reunion every year, and it's so much fun. We always play all kinds of games. We all meet at a lake, and we stay for, I don't know, I guess 4 or 5 nights. We rent a houseboat, ski boats, all that stuff. And so we just basically spend the entire time on the water. Well, one thing that we do, since there's so many families that are there, is each night one family or group of families has dinner. So like that person's responsible for creating dinner for that night. And it's so much fun because, one group will do Mexican, one group will do American, like hamburgers and hot dogs, one will do steaks or grilled chicken, and it's a lot of fun. So just an idea if you do an away vacation like that, or family reunion. We also like to play games. I have a picture, and I'm going to put it in the comments when this is over, and he's probably going to kill me, but that's okay. We play this game called Egg and I, and it's where you take a dozen eggs or 18 eggs, depending on how many people you have, and you boil all of them except for one. So they're all hard boiled. You can decorate them if you want to, and we go around and we ask questions, and if you get the question wrong, you have to get an egg and smash it up against your head. Well, you know what happens when you get the one that was not hard boiled, it basically splatters all over you. And so I have a really funny picture of a couple years ago when Collins had lost and he smashed the egg and it went everywhere, and it's really funny. So I'll put that in the comments. You guys will enjoy that one. Some other things you can do scavenger hunts. If you're out somewhere that, like, we always go to the lake, so we could do a scavenger hunt for different things that you might find out where we are. But there's all kinds of fun ideas for that. You can also do bingo, come up with a bingo that's specific to your family. You can do, we do Family Feud sometimes, so that's really fun. We've even done water balloon fights. One of my favorite things to take pictures of is water balloon baseball. You're tossing the water balloon to them, and when they hit it, it just explodes everywhere, and it's really fun. I love those pictures. I'll show you some examples of those too. you know, and as you're getting together, you've got families from all over and you've got multiple generations. So this is a perfect opportunity. Don't miss this opportunity to take pictures of your kids with you as the parent in there, and then also their grandparents. So get 3 generation, get 4 generation, whatever you can, but make sure you take those pictures, because those are ones that you will treasure for the rest of your life, and your kids will treasure them for the rest of their lives. It's just something that, you know, not everybody has a grandparent, and it's super important to document those times. Okay, let me look at my notes. Sorry. Okay, some tips. Let's talk about photos just with your phone, right? So you're out and you're at the ballpark and you want to take a picture of your kid. One of the things I always look for is shade. If you can find a shade spot, that makes the best picture ever. You know, it's very diffused light. It's not direct. It's not hard. That's going to make the best photo. So always look for shade first. If you can't find shade and you have to be out in the sun, I'm just going to show you some examples. So I'm going to turn this light on. You can see it's super bright. This is kind of like what the hard sun is like if there's no clouds. So if the sun is, you know, directly in their face, first of all, they're going to squint, right? They're not going to like having that in their face, and you're not going to get a good smile out of them. But one thing that direct light in the front like this does is, for people like me with wrinkles, it fills most of that in. So there's no shadows in the wrinkles, and it's a little bit more flattering light than if you're over here and now all of a sudden every wrinkle on my face is 100% showing up. So this is not good lighting at all. One thing you can do to combat that, let me see if I can find a piece of paper here. Hang on, sorry, stand by. All right, so if you have a white t-shirt, stand next to a white car, you know, whatever, or a building that has white on it, if the light is hitting from the side like this and you bring up something that's white and reflective, you can see this side of my face. See how it's really shadowed right now? And when I bring this in, it lightens it up. So it's still not perfect, but you can get rid of some of those shadows just by adding something white on the other side. Again, it can be a building, it can be a car, whatever, but it just needs to be something that's light and white. If you don't have either of those, really the best light is if you can get backlighting. So if the sun is behind you, it's hitting on your hair, it's highlighting everything, it's really pretty. And with your phone, sometimes when you go to take the picture, it might make your face really dark because it sees the background as being really light. Yes, that can be a problem, but there's a way to fix it, and I'm going to show you how. All right, let me put that away. Okay, so with your phone, when you go to take a picture, let me see if I can get this framed right. Oh, this way. All right, it's backwards. Okay, so if I touch right here where my face is on my phone, it puts this little yellow box. And I can drag up and down to make the light brighter and darker, right? So if the light behind me is really bright and I'm adding some light to it, hang on, there we go. All right, if I add light to it, what happens is my face lightens up, but so does everything behind me. With the phone, you know, your dynamic range is going to be very limited, so you're not going to be able to get, you know, the perfect crisp sky and the perfect exposure on your face. So you're going to have to compromise with one of those, and I'd rather compromise with the sky. So if you, oh, come on, phone. All right, so if you just swipe it up, you know, it's going to make it brighter behind you, and that's okay. The sky's just going to be white, but that you're going to get a great picture of your kids. So that's your tip for today on your phone. So basically, and if you tap and hold, it will lock in your exposure. So you see this little yellow box that came up right here? It locks that exposure in, so you can take multiple pictures and it keeps that exposure for all of them. So again, just tap, you get a little yellow box. I wish you could see it better. Let me see if I get closer, if that helps. Maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, just try it on your own phone. You'll get a little yellow square, and it has like a little sun right beside it. And if you just go to where that sun is, scroll up and scroll down, it makes it brighter and darker. So, you know, just a little tip. One thing I always like is silhouette pictures. And so if you're out at the beach and, you know, the sun is really beautiful, the water's beautiful, you don't want to blow all that out and make it completely white, then do a silhouette. You can always have, you know, where your subject is dark. And I'll show an example in the comments. But a silhouette always makes really great photos also. So you can have the sun behind your children, behind your family, and then they will just be really dark. Another thing you can do, if you happen to have flash, you can set the exposure so that you can see more of the background and then add flash. So add some light into it. You can also just go get poster board or something, like some foam core at Hobby Lobby. And if you have it held up in front of them, and sometimes even the sand will reflect back the sun, and that way you can get better sky and better water pictures. But with a phone, you know, you are going to be limited. It doesn't have the dynamic range of some other things, but you know, just some good tips. I hope it helps you. I do want to add too, you know, one of the things I love doing beach pictures, and we're heading down to the beach in June. So if you are going to Orange Beach or any of those surrounding areas, let me know. I'm going to be there. I think it's June 13th to the 20th. And I would love to take your family's picture while we're there. You know, I'm going to be there anyway, and I would love to help you capture some memories. Also, if you don't want to take a bunch of pictures at your family reunion or your class reunion or whatever events you're going to, give us a call. We've got a couple different ways we can do it. You know, one is if you want the posed pictures and you want us to do some of that stuff, we can absolutely do that. Or if you want someone just to be a fly on the wall, like you don't even know that they're there, they're hanging out in the background, capturing some of those more documentary style, lifestyle type photos. And, you know, you'll see all of the fun that you had at the event and not have to worry about stopping to take pictures. So, or even if it's not me, just, you know, get someone to come and do it, because maybe I'm not going to be at the beach when you are. I'm trying to think what else. Was there anything else, Donna? Oh, there was, yes, a couple other things. So we talked about exposure and light and where it comes from, but a couple other things to think about too are interesting elements. So I'll show you some examples in the comments, but one of them is if you can see where there might be some leading lines. Like the example I'm going to show you in the comments is one where we were on a houseboat. Collins and his brother were working on the jet ski, but it was all the way at the other end. So I had the leading lines of the boat to them where they were, and then got the picture of them working on the jet skis. It's really kind of cute, and it's just a different way of looking at things. Also, make sure to capture some of those moments of connection between people. I'm going to show you a picture of Cannon with his uncle Will. They're out on a canoe, and it's one of my favorite pictures because the water just looks so pretty, and you just see the connection. They're looking into each other's eyes, having a conversation, and it's just really, really cool. And I know that he will always remember their conversation out on that canoe that day because he has the pictures and he'll remember it. Also, you might want to think about, especially if you're going to be around water, look at the reflection on the water. A lot of times it's either the tree line or maybe the sunset coming down and you see all the orange on the water. That's always so pretty. Or maybe it's, you know, the kids fishing and you can see the reflection in the water, or maybe it's even just a puddle. Make sure that you look for those things too, because they do make really, really cute pictures. What else? Oh, another one to think about. And this is one, I don't know that everybody knows this, but it's something that's very common in the photography world. I'm just going to draw it out for you. It's called the rule of thirds. And it's basically like a tic-tac-toe board, right? So imagine this is your phone screen. And what you want to do is one of those four crosshairs is you want either, if you're doing one person, you want the eye to be in that one. Or maybe if you're taking it this way, then you have the person standing where one of those lines is. And so you have a little bit extra room on one side or the other. And then always think about it as the way that we read. We read top to bottom, left to right. And that's the same way that your eye goes. So it's going to start up here. Well, I'm opposite of you. It's going to start up here and go this way. So that's just the natural movement of your eye. So think about that when you're taking the picture. I've had a couple times where one has been on the right-hand side and it really should have been on the left-hand side. So I'll just flip the image over so that it looks right. It just makes more sense to the eye. It's weird. I think that's it. I always try to do a fun little fact too. And this is something that came up with me and Donna this week. We had someone that had put in a request for a photo shoot, and their email address was @ymail. And I was like, oh, that has to be a typo. I'm sure it's Gmail. So Donna was like, no, let me just research it. And she did, and I didn't know that Yahoo Mail is now Ymail. So if you get an email from someone that says ymail.com, it's valid. Anyway, fun tip for this Tuesday, and that's all I have, unless there are some comments or questions that you guys have. All of these samples that I talked about, I will put into the comments, and I hope y'all had a great Memorial Day, and we'll talk next week. All right, bye guys.